We're going to start today's practice in our corpse pose, allowing the body to soften and relax as you bring your awareness to the present moment. Soften your gaze or close your eyes. Nice active breath, starting to release any tension in the body. Keeping attention on the breath. And with each breath, creating space throughout the body. And let's start to bring both feet flat to the mat in a constructive rest position here. And when you're ready, we're going to take the knees side to side in that windshield wiper position. It's coming back and forth, starting to open up the hips, keeping the spine pressed towards the mat. And let's come back to center. And we're going to hug the left knee in towards the chest, coming into your one-legged wind relieving pose. Really creating some space at the low back, freeing up some space in the pelvis area. Breathing deep into the belly, using the breath to soften the muscles in the abdomen, the pelvis, and the lower back. And we're going to be holding poses for 1 to 2 minutes today. And with your next exhale, let's transition. Find a half happy baby pose. So whatever's accessible here, really drawing that left knee down towards the mat. Keeping the head soft on the earth. And let's come back to center. Switching sides. Drawing right knee in towards the heart space. Nice active breath. And I invite you to work on extending your exhalations as we're working on our poses today. As we extend the exhales, it really helps us to release any tension that we're holding in the body. And let's slowly start to find our happy baby. Doing our best here to really soften into the pose. Getting a deep stretch into the hips. Maybe adding a little more force as we're drawing the knee down to the floor. Let's slowly start to pull both knees to the heart space. We'll take just a couple breaths here, find a little bit of movement. And moving with an exhale, we're going to make our way to a seated position, and feel free to take a couple breaths here as you transition. Coming into your version of an easy sit position. Option to bring some support under the hips. So getting a nice grounding down through the sit bones. We're going to start to bring a gentle fold. So not forcing the movement here, but allowing to come into a fold that feels natural. And with each exhale, we're sinking just a little bit deeper here. And as always, avoiding any pain. The goal with the yin is to find a comfortable edge where you can rest comfortably. Gently, we're going to start to rise, coming up and out of the pose. We're going to find our way to our pigeon pose. So keeping a bend in the left knee, extending the right leg, really centering the hips here and allowing the weight to settle into the hips as you extend that back leg. And once you're sure that that knee is happy, we're going to come into our sleeping swan. So allowing the heart to melt towards the earth. Great pose for releasing tension from the spine, improving circulation throughout the body. Keeping that nice active breath. Important that we keep an active breath and that we are not restricting at any point. Anytime we're restricting the breath, we're signaling to the body that it's either in flight or fight mode, and we want to avoid that with our practice. We're about bringing a sense of calm and peace to the body, to the nervous system. Well, we're getting into the deeper tissues here with the Yin Yoga. Moving with the breath, we're going to slowly find our next pose, which is going to be our half shoelace pose. So bringing that back leg up and around, crisscrossing and extending that left leg. And then bringing a gentle twist to the right. And I want you to go ahead and soften the shoulders down away from the ears here. And we're really targeting the back of that extended leg, as well as targeting the outer hip of the top leg, getting an external rotation. And as you exhale, let's slowly bring it back to center. And we're going to come into your version of your easy sit position on the opposite side. letting go of any judgments or expectations that you might have of yourself. Go ahead and start to gently fold. Nice active breath as we're compressing the belly. And with your next exhale, let's slowly start to rise. Take your time coming into your half pigeon. Ensuring that you have a happy knee. Grounding the hips towards the earth. And then slowly folding that heart space. And with each exhale, doing your best here to really let the body melt into the earth. Just that overall sense of relax, release. Everything's nice and heavy. Letting go of all thoughts, all tension. Nice, slow, relaxed breathing. Let's slowly start to come up and release. Really take your time as you transition. Not rushing any movements. Finding your shoelace pose. Really extending and pressing through that right sole. As you're hugging the left knee towards the chest, find that gentle twist. Shoulders relax down away from the ears. Not only are we opening the hip here, we're also decompressing that low spine, bringing lots of love to the spine. Massaging the organs. Any twist is a good twist. And let's come back to center. Extending both legs. We'll just take a couple breaths here before we come to our tabletop pose. And we're going to come to all fours, really preparing for our dragon pose. And when you're ready, we're going to step that left foot to the top of the mat. And I'm going to actually bring both palms to rest to the inside of that left foot. Sliding that back leg, getting a nice deep stretch. Being very mindful here. Palms are stacked under the shoulders. And I'm going to take a couple more breaths here before I come even lower. So remember, this pose is all about you and finding the right intensity. Also have an option here to bring a block in to bring the floor a little closer if you need. But if you'd like something a little deeper, coming to rest on the forearms, elbows are stacked under the shoulders. Breathe into the pose. I'm going to be here for just a few more breath cycles. Start to come up and out. We're going to take a child's pose for about a minute here, allowing the sit bones to sink back towards the heels. As always, not rushing any transitions. And once you're there, nice active breath, really letting the belly take up all the space that you can bring into that inhale. So really exaggerate here. Slowly start to rise and find your dragon pose on the opposite side. Take a few breaths to adjust that back leg. And lots of different versions and options here, so feel free to play around till you find what feels best for you today. I'm going to take about a minute here in my dragon pose with the palms pressed to the earth. Really practicing stillness. And then I'm going to slowly lower to that low flying dragon where I'm resting on the forearms. I'll be here for about a minute. Keeping your attention on the breath. Very intense stretch here. Finding gratitude for the flexibility that you have as you slowly start to come up and out. Coming to all fours, I'm going to gently sit the sit bones down, coming into a kneeling position. I'm going to be here for just a few breaths before we come back to that corpse pose. And finding some grace as you make your transition. Coming down to the back. We're going to take a few windshield wipers here. Nice intentional movement. And back to center, we're going to come to a figure 4 pose. So we're going to bring that left ankle up to the top of the right thigh, grabbing what's accessible and hugging that knee into heart space. Really letting the sit bones sink heavy into the earth. Targeting the hips and the glutes. Opening the hip joints and the muscles. And let's go ahead and lower the sole of that right foot down to the earth. And we're going to find a spinal twist, taking the knees to the right. So option here to uncross from the figure four if it feels uncomfortable. Play around a little bit to find the shape that feels best. Arms extended out to a T. Nice active breath, really deep breathing here as you're expanding the belly, the upper ribs, the lungs. Long, slow, extended exhales. Really massaging the organs. Exhaling, releasing any toxins within the body. And with your next exhale, we're going to keep the figure four shape if you are still in that pose. We're going to come up and take the twist to the left. We're going to be here for about a minute. And don't worry if the knees aren't coming all the way to the floor. If you're experiencing a little discomfort, definitely uncross the legs, or you can bring some support under the knee, bringing the mat a little closer to you. And hopefully your rib cage and shoulder blades are nice and heavy and you're getting that amazing twist throughout the core here. And let's bring it back to center. We're going to switch sides. Coming into your figure four, clasping the fingers behind or in front of the shin on that left leg, really hugging everything into the heart space. Nice active breath. And with that next exhale, planting that left sole to the earth and taking that spinal twist towards the left. Allow yourself a few breaths here to find the shape. Being mindful of the knees. So really listening to the body and the sensations and being aware. And sometimes it's good for us and our system to settle into an unusual position and Just kind of hang out and chill for a bit. Focus on the breath. Finding some patience with the uncomfortableness. And taking your time, let's find that twist on the opposite side. Relaxing into the pose. Shoulder blades, rib cage, nice and heavy. Each exhale going a little bit deeper into the twist. A little awareness here, how all the muscles are connected. And let's come back to center. Unwind everything. Couple breaths, hug the knees into the heart space. And taking your time, we're going to find our legs up a wall pose. As always, feel free to come up against the wall or a piece of furniture. So we're going to be here for a couple minutes. As always, totally fine to bring in any support as needed. Backside nice and heavy into the earth. Let's start to slow the rhythm of our breath. Surrender into the shape wherever you are. And we're going to come into this place of stillness. And with your next exhale, we're going to find our final resting pose. An important pose as it allows our body to rest so that the benefits of your practice can integrate. So not rushing our Shavasana, really important as it relaxes the central nervous system, realigns the body, and calms the mind. So feel free to rest as long as needed. And I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Namaste. Thank you for practicing.